make the leap. On the ledge moments scale, but there are a couple of lessons that we can take from them all. You see a guy, there's a tandem guy here. There's a tandem where there's two guys getting ready to dive. You'll see a photo in just a moment. Our first ledge lesson is that courage comes from connection. That's the first lesson. Courage comes from connection. When we think about on the ledge, most of us see ourselves standing there alone. But really, on the ledge, you should never be alone before you take a risk. I know there's a lot of mavericks and renegades out there. You want to be a trailblazer. You want to do great things. But if you want the successful on the ledge moment, there should be someone there with you. At least one person, preferably a group of people. In my world, we like to call it a board of advisors. I have a group of friends around me, and before I decide that I want to leap or take a risk, I have a group of friends around me that I go, okay, this is what I'm thinking. In August of 2015, my first book had come out in March of 2015. I was writing my second one in August of 2016, and I realized that I could no longer keep the pace of the life that I had. And I was thinking maybe I need to become a full-time speaker and author, which meant that I would have had to leave the safety and the security of what I'd known. Well, I wasn't just going to say, well, that feels like a good idea, and I'm going to give my 2 weeks' notice. I spent several months. I had a mentor who was already an author. She and I had lots of conversations about what it was like to work in the industry. I had a group of friends who knew a lot of things about me and my family, and we would process through this. Courage comes from connection. Yeah, I had the freak out when I finally went in and I let my organization know that I was leaving. But I had courage in knowing that there were people around me who walked with me through that decision process. For my skydiving adventure, I want you to meet Mike. You'll see a photo of Mike here in a second. This is Mike. I could not jump out of an airplane on my own and survive, but Mike right there, he had jumped out of a plane at that point 5,000 times. My skydiving adventure with Mike was what he was fitting in right before lunch. Like for him, it was like, psh, whatever. But Mike and I were tethered together. There was a hook on the front of my jumpsuit that hooked to the front of Mike's jumpsuit. And as awkward and uncomfortable as that was, because we were real close, I needed to get somewhere that I couldn't get on my own. And Mike had the expertise to get me there. If you're thinking about that ledge moment, it's important to have somebody standing there with you who's already been there before. Some kind of mentor, some kind of person who you've got close to close contact that will stand there with you. Not somebody who you see as competition, but somebody who will be a companion on the journey. And in this room, I imagine that you can find someone that can walk beside you. And the second ledge lesson here is that it's okay if you want to run away. If you get to your on the ledge moment right before you knock on the door, right before you send the email to your manager, right before you pull the trigger on a project, if you feel like you want to run away, that's okay. If you feel like it's a mistake, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I don't know if I can handle it, that's okay. We think that you're supposed to be cool, calm, and collected, and it's actually the opposite. When you leave the ground and you start to adventure to a place you've never been before, it's supposed to feel scary. It's supposed to feel tough. But you do it anyways. And then ledge lesson number 3. Ledge lesson number 3 is know how to land. You know, one of the things that Mike emphasized while we were skydiving was before we ever went up in the air, he said, Barb, I need you to pay attention to how to land. We were still on the ground when he gave me that lesson. He didn't wait until we were 10,000 feet in the air on the ledge and go, and by the way, he started emphasizing while we were on the ground the importance of landing well. You see, Mike, he told me that as we got closer to the ground, he would tap my shoulder And then I would need to raise my knees up as high as possible, because the importance of that was so that he could put his feet down first. He said, Barb, if you leave your feet down and I leave my feet down, we're going to break our legs. And I thought, well, I don't want to do that. But he explained the emphasis at the very beginning of understanding how to land safely in the end. So for you and I, when we're thinking about what it looks like for us to be on the ledge, we think about the risk that we want to take. We think about how is it that we want to make a greater impact, how we want to go farther, faster, higher than we've ever been before. But how do we land? And so these are some of the things for me that I've realized, because I did leave my job in January of 2016. I left what was secure and I left what was unknown to walk into the great unknown, to embrace uncertainty as a full-time speaker and author. And there are some things for me. The first was I realized the importance of investing 50% of my time in leading myself and understanding my purpose, ethics, principle, motivation, conduct. That I realized that if I was going to put my life at risk and have an impact of the people around me, I had to constantly be the best me that I could be. If I was going to put at risk not just my life, but everyone around me who was important to me, I had to be the best me that I could be. How are you becoming the best me that you could be? How much time are you actually investing in yourself? How much time do you devote on a weekly basis? The fact that you're here today is spectacular. This is a great investment in yourself. But if you think one day is going to get you there, it isn't. And so for those of you who this is second nature to you, then you've got some great ideas, share them with your friends. But for others where you may not, this is not something that you've gotten to a regular rhythm, then what I like to tell coaching clients, I'm a big person on the rule of 3. And so I like to say, you know what? 3 conferences a year, 3 books a year, 3 podcasts a year. Find 3 podcasts, folks. If you haven't read in a while, there are a gazillion magnificent books out there. But if you're a little behind, these are some of my favorite books right here from 2017. These are books that I absolutely love and adore that work no matter what industry you're in. Joseph Grenny wrote the book Influencers. This is about how people change. We work with people every single day. And there is the well-known leader, he said, our job, no matter our industry, is to help people move from here to there. And I don't know about you, but if you are any kind of management level, people do not want to move from here to there. They want to stay right where they're at. And so understanding how to effectively move people from here to there. Grit, this has been out for a couple of years. Angela Duckworth, she talks about this idea that it's not just about talent. We think that the people who have the most talent, the people who seem to have it all together, that they could excel more. But it's not about talent. It's about endurance and effort. Option B, Sheryl Sandberg. I just finished this book a couple of weeks ago. Sheryl Sandberg is the COO of Facebook. Her husband, Dave, was the CEO of SurveyMonkey. And he passed away unexpectedly on vacation. And this book she co-authored with Adam Grant. It's about resilience. It's not just about grief, but it is about coming back. And so if you are in a place right now, you've got some dings, you've got some bruises, maybe there's some things that haven't gone great, and you need to build some resiliency, I highly recommend it. And then Rising Strong with Brene Brown. She's one of my favorite authors. And Rising Strong is about the internal fortitude that you need if you are going to go for it all. So those are just some of the things that I recommend